Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Nathan Roper, Captain with Cherokee County Fire Emergency Services, and I'm here to explain a little bit about what happened at the fire at 614 May Street. At 1:17 p.m., we dispatched a full alarm assignment consisting of 2 engines, 1 ladder truck, 1 rescue, and a battalion chief. They arrived on scene and found smoke showing from the residence. They made entry, found heavy smoke and fire in the living room. Otherwise, everything seemed to have good visibility throughout the structure. After the fire was over, the officer on the first due engine company was completing his paperwork, and while his crew was loading the hose back on their fire truck, they had another fire dispatched down the street where they had reports of occupants trapped inside. Due to that fact, they had to leave the fire at 614 May Street and perform their duties to possibly save lives and protect property at a different location. I did arrive shortly thereafter. No one was home, family was gone, no firefighters or fire personnel remained on scene due to the other fire. I arrived, I made entry based off some of the information I gathered from responding units. Started taking photographs and quickly learned that some things were out of place. The furniture that was present in the house was older furniture. The TV was a broken old TV. Anything of value had been removed from the structure, which is not something you typically see. As I began my investigation, I noticed there was a melted component behind the TV. When I got behind the TV, I found a pour pattern, what we call a pour pattern. And here's an example of what I'm talking about, and this is actually the picture there. So what you see is the charring on the wood floor, and it's not very deep, which would lead us to suggest that an accelerant was used. And what happens when an accelerant's used is the vapor burns off so quickly that the fire doesn't really penetrate into the structure, the wood. But everything around it can catch fire, such as the TV, the wall, and they can burn upward and outward. The floor having that pattern would suggest that something was poured there, an accelerant such as gasoline or kerosene, diesel, some other kind of flammable liquid, and the vapor burned off real quickly, leaving the floor pretty much intact. That's a big clue or an indicator that something suspicious is going on. Other things that happened were the family did come back home while I was there conducting my investigation, and it was odd that they had their lawyer with them when they returned. A lot of things surrounding this case are quote-unquote fishy, if you will. But I understand that we're here today to discuss the legality of the evidence that I found. What I'm concerned with is that with arson, we could potentially have a life loss. It's not so much the property, but the act of hurting someone, even if it's an unintentional, just so that property can be damaged and maybe insurance fraud occurs. But my concern is more along the lines of life safety, and we'd like to prevent that. Due to the exigent circumstances that occurred that afternoon, where the fire companies were not allowed to stay on scene because of other life safety issues that had to be addressed, they left. The case of Christian Reed Smith versus the state of Idaho suggests that those exigent circumstances would allow for me to enter the property and gather evidence based off what was known. And as these proceedings go on, I'll have further detailed information where we can actually go into why I entered the structure and why I thought it was important. Thank you, sir.